connected now. Okay, so I'll going to the point where we have the last time. Okay, we have discussed, I think, moment of inertia of the thin uniform rod, right? Moment of inertia of the thin
Yes.
uniform rod. We have done it yesterday, okay, and we got it the formula for the moment of inertia of a thin uniform rod about an axis to its center and perpendicular to its length, right? We got this formula. So we know the value of the moment of inertia. Yes, yes. Any question? Yes, anybody?
Sir, what kind of question can we expect from moment of inertia of a thin uniform rod? Like, what sort of question can be asked on this topic?
Yeah, don't worry about the questions. We will definitely give you some kind of a practice. Okay. First of all, look at now there is an objective type of a questionnaires, or sometimes numericals can be asked, or sometimes values are given, or sometimes logical expressions can be asked. Okay. So
Yes.
problem, just like I can give you the hint, like okay, you want to find out the moment of inertia of the thin uniform rod about an axis passing to the center perpendicular to its length, just like an example. Okay, this is an example. This is a, but I can ask something different also about any one of its position, about its end also. Okay, or I can know what is the relation of the I and M over there. So some kind of logical things can be asked. Okay, so let's
Sir,
we will discuss
derivation
that
can also
later
be asked,
on.
right?
Derivation, you have a less chance to ask since we are in the online mode, okay. But I can give you practice, for somehow assignment work, okay. Some kind of a flexible test where we have, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir, it
Not,
will be helpful.
yeah, not for the MCQs probably because there is certain limitations. Again, there is a 1 mark and that things are there, okay. So we got this relationship for the moment of inertia upon an axis passing to the one end of the rod and perpendicular to its length. So the treatment we have given, and we got the final value, that is ml square by 3, and also we use that law or principle of parallel axis where we got this moment of inertia of the rod about the axis through the P is equal to sum of the moment of inertia about the parallel axis through the center of mass and the product of its mass and the square of the distance between the two things over there. Okay, so we know that we from that also we can calculate the moment of inertia if that axis is a parallel to that. Okay, so that way you can easily calculate. So the parallel axis theorem we use for finding the thin uniform. So questions likely to be asked that I mentioned. Okay, so perpendicular at one end. Okay, that point the position where the what this particular rod is rotating around. Okay, so this kind of practice you need to do the problems and so on. Okay, I will give you later the assignments. We will discuss the theoretical part, the moment of inertia of a hoop or a circular ring. That is our next problem. So can you people please write down, and actually you have you should come with your notebook and draw these all those things, because we are in the online mode and I know you people are just connecting your gadgets and be there. But don't do such a kind of things, okay? Keep it on practicing, so it is in your memory. Okay, sometimes we have written and write and those equations, because also we are not writing on the blackboard here. So I ask you to please write down all such a things on your notebook. So here I want to find out the moment of inertia of a hoop, okay, or a circular ring there. So just like a ring you have, okay, ring you have, and you need to find out the moment of inertia of such a hoop, okay, which is like you have a circular ring, okay, and r the radius of that is given to you, and m is a mass of that particular ring or a hoop, you can say, it is given to you. So here we consider a certain particle again, okay, because capital and capital R, that are the total mass, and the radius with which that circular ring is rotating around, okay, about an axis passing through its center of that particular ring, okay, or a hoop, and that is in a plane. So it is in a plane, and we have just passing, okay, the axis through its center. So we need to again write down those equations by logically in your mind. that all the masses are equally distributed throughout the uniformity of that ring, okay, and they are supposed to be, just I just say the equivalent of that particular mass is rotating around one radius, okay. Suppose that uh, the distance from the axis of rotation, that to be called as the perpendicular distance to its plane. So that distance we know r is its value, and the square of it, that is r square. You just multiply with the summation of all such m, that gives me a total m, that is the mass of the whole body, entire hoop, or you can say circular ring. That gives me the complete relationship over there, okay. That I is summation of mr square, and summation of m becomes m over there, and you will get the value of r is equal to mr square. So about its diameter, about its axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane, it is same as what we define for the moment of inertia of any body, okay. It is the same as mr square, okay. It is like a body which is in a plane, and that plane perpendicular, I mean to say that axis which is passing through this center, and that will be a perpendicular to its plane, okay, that axis. So the body will always be like any, plane lamina, and that moment of inertia we already calculated, okay, about its axis. Remember about an axis passing through the center, that the position is very important over here. And why I'm repeatedly telling you, because people probably miss this kind of a concept, okay. So always which axis which is in your mind, what position you are asked to determine the moment of inertia of such a body. So like suppose you want to find out the moment of inertia about its diameter, that is your case number 2, about its diameter. So how can you find that? So here we need to consider. We know that there are the two. I mean to say the perpendicular axis theorem. That is what we need to draw the diameter which is passing through the center, okay, of that particular ring. So here the moment of inertia of the hoop which we consider along the diameter, that diameter is AB over here, and another diameter we consider there is a CD, okay. And the axis which is passing to the center, that is what the center to this O. So we need to find out the moment of inertia about its diameter. So two diameters we draw, and they are intersecting at a point O over there, okay, and that is the position where the what axis pass through it. So we can use over here the principle of perpendicular axis. So we know that the principle of perpendicular axis that we have generalized, and it's you mean to say that if you want to find out the resultant moment of inertia for a such axis which is passing through the center, and there are the two axes which are intersecting at that position, we need to add that moment of inertia for those particular axes where we have, okay. So these are like we find out yesterday also, that moment of inertia of this particular about the any position that is supposed to be I over there, means one diameter, and this moment of inertia along the another diameter I over there. So that will be I plus I becomes a twice of I, and that will be the resultant moment of inertia of the what, the whole system, that is a hoop which is passing that particular axis passing to the center. So we calculated that value as the mr square. So simply you can just write down that I plus I becomes a twice of I over there, okay, that is equals to mr square. You can write down this value over there, and simply you can calculate the value of what, the moment of inertia is a half of the mr square. When you are talking the when you are saying that the moment of inertia finding at any along its diameter, so along its diameter its value is coming to be a half of mr square about any diameter, okay. So this is the moment of inertia that we calculated, and that value is coming to be a mr square by 2, okay. Can we do for the some kind of disc or the lamina, circular lamina moment of inertia? Can we do that? Okay. So it is just like a ring. You have a disc kind of a thing. Okay. And this kind of a
Excuse
disc
me,
you
sir.
have. Yes, yes.
Sir, why is the moment of inertia same for all diameter of that loop?
That means why? suppose your axis is passing through the center when you connected, you know, any kind of a diameter that is the passing through the center. So it will be a uniform body, no? So diameter is whatever is the diameter you are saying, that is always passing through the center, no? So your axis moment of inertia, perpendicular axis, which will always be intersecting this the two diameters over there. I mean to say the axis where we are finding, we are finding at the position of the diameter. So when you are saying at the position of diameter, okay, the value will be exactly will be the half of the value you got it for any perpendicular axis. That means what your axis will be always be passing through the center. Okay, and the diameter will always be a passing through the center. Okay. So any diameter you are finding, any one of its diameter, its value becomes a half, right?
Okay, sir.
A moment of inertia of a circular lamina or disc, okay, that we need to find out with the help of this kind of a disc you have, okay, and you want to find out the moment of inertia of such a body again. But here the circular lamina or disc, when you say disc, okay, some portion is completely filled with, and there is a, you know, the interior you have some kind of a hole. I mean to say the hollow things that what the inner radii you have, but it is a completely filled, and since we call it as the lamina, all the homogeneity of all the materials with which it is made up of, okay, that is in a one plane, then we call it as a lamina. Since it is a circular ring, we call it as a circular disc because it is a completely filled with the material throughout. So that is the difference between the ring and disc, you say. Okay, ring is completely hollow and thin outside, but you say disc, okay, which has a certain thickness and completely filled from the radius to from the center to its radius. Okay, so just like you have a CD ROM CD disk you have. So here we need to find out the moment of inertia for such a body, but we need to find out what positions they are, and we can consider over here. Please, you need to draw this diagram on your notebook so you can have a practice. So what the axis we are, first case, please write down the case one about an axis through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Okay. So M with the mass of that disk we considering, whatever with the uh, material with which it is made up of, that M is the mass of it, and R, capital R, with the radius, here it is in drawn, capital R with the radius of this disk. Then since the area of the disk, that can be write as circular disk, okay, so cross sectional area is a pi r square over there, and its mass per unit area will be a mass per unit area we write over here. Now you can ask me why, sir, here it is the mass per unit area written, why the mass per unit length. So just like a length, you have a symmetrical body, just you consider the like that time a rod, okay, it is a linearly varying, okay, it has a certain length, so we found out the mass per unit. Since it's a circular cross sectional area, it is areal value, we know that, so we find out over here the mass per unit area, we multiply by that mass per unit area with the small radius we first find out, and just find out the area of that small mass, okay, along its circumference, that gives me the thickness, okay, and you have to multiply by the M with, I mean to say, we need to consider certain now just a ring, small part of the ring, that of the disk, because all this disk is made up of what, all such integration of all such rings, okay, that is a completely your disk. So you consider a small ring of the disk, and that at held at a distance x from the what the center, and the width we consider of that particular ring is having the dx value, okay, width dx x, that is a position, and you can say that the axis is passing through the center, so x be the radius of the ring, and its area you can simply write down multiplying the circumference by its width, okay, that will be the area you can get it. So if you multiply the area, I mean to say circumference by width to get the area of that particular ring, you can easily write down the 2 pi x dx, that is the what the area of such a ring. So you have a complete body that is a ring. I mean to say disk, which is has m upon pi r square. That we say the mass per unit area of the whole disk. And if you multiply by the what 2 pi x dx, that gives me the twice mx dx by r square, which is nothing but a mass of that particular system. So area, this get cancelled, but we express that thing in terms of the what the I mean to say m by pi r square multiplied by its the area, that will use the complete mass. But the mass we calculated over here, the twice mx dx here by r square. So pi value and this pi get cancelled over there, and you will remain as a twice mx dx by r square. So this is the value you got it for the mass of that ring. Okay, and this ring is passing, and that axis is passing to the center and perpendicular to its plane. So if you multiply by the radius again, that distance square, how these masses are distributed and at what distance they are from the axis of rotation, that the x square you have. Okay, so you can easily write down the value of the moment of inertia for such a small ring you considered of at held at a distance x having the thickness dx. So look at in the diagram, this is the dx thickness you have, and the x the radius of that ring. Okay, so you got the relationship for the moment of inertia. You just find out for a circular ring, okay, that has a certain thickness dx. Okay, and this the value you got it. So once you got the moment of inertia for such a one ring, can you integrate to get the whole moment of inertia for the whole disk? Okay, and that you can do with the help of simple integration over there. So I is equal to, you just want to take the integration over the limit what the radius you have for that particular disk, okay, 0 to r, and just integrate the value of the moment of inertia that you got it for the one ring only. And then we just do the limits of integration, that the variable available with your integration is a radius, that is the all variable over there. That means here the x over there, okay, that's the variable. So if you have to integrate x cube dx over 0 to r within the limit, you will get x to the power 4 by 4, that's the integration. And if you solve further, you will get the moment of inertia for this ring, that it will be the same that we calculated just now. But that is don't confuse, this is the moment of inertia you got it for a disk. Remember that the complete disk, okay, which has value m mass, and the r is the radius to which it is rotating, or you can say that r is the radius of that disk. Okay, but the value comes out to be a half of mr square, right? So that the calculations you did it, and I think you people have done this, and the moment of inertia you can calculate it for the disk about its axis passing through the what you say position, which is passing through the center. Now again the same thing, this moment of inertia is a positional dependent, which position you are going to find out the moment of inertia. So here again the next case will be coming about its diameter. So how to find out about its diameter? So here we consider the disk again, it's a completely filled body. Remember that it's like you have a disk over there always. Okay, so what are the diameters of such a body, and where it is the axis is passing through that? Okay, so the axis which is passing through the center, and this diameter is always intersecting at the position where the this perpendicular axis is going through that. So we need to use the principle of the perpendicular axis over here to determine the moment of inertia of the whole disk. Okay, suppose you consider over here the two diameters. I mean to say you have diameters which is passing to the center, that is AB and CD. If I want to find out the moment of inertia of this about I mean to say AB, which is and CD, they are perpendicular to each other. And if I want to write down the resultant moment of inertia for such a disk, okay, about the perpendicular axis, they are the perpendicular axis. So perpendicular axis theorem says that the resultant moment of inertia I plus I will be a mr square by 2. This mr square by 2 you calculated just now, that the moment of inertia you got it for the whole disk about its center. And now these diameters are the perpendicular to each other, and they have added to give you a value twice high. So your resultant value of the moment of inertia about its diameter comes out to be a mr square by 4. Okay, so this way the calculation can be done, and we calculated the values of the moment of inertia of such a circular disc about its diameter. So please write down, people, all of you should notate this point. Okay, this is a special case we are solving. The first case about its about an axis passing through the center perpendicular to its plane. This is about an axis that is what about it's a diameter. That axis are the diameters over there, but they are perpendicular to each other. So that's what we use the axis principle of the perpendicular axis theorem. Third case, I think it is, yeah, should be a third, about its tangent to the disk in its own plane. Okay, so this is the position we have to find out. Then we need to draw the tangent to this disk. Okay, and we need to find out the moment of inertia of such a disk of radius r, which has a mass m. And we need to determine, just we consider the diameter. We know the moment of inertia about one of its diameter, that value we know, but we need to find out the moment of inertia at a position that it will be a tangent that been drawn over. So AB is a tangent which is drawn to the parallel CD diameter. So here I can use the principle of parallel axis to determine the moment of inertia of the disk about its tangent. The tangent will be drawn over here is AB over there. Okay. So the moment of inertia we write down for the disk about CD, that is along its diameter, plus the mr square. What is this mr square? This is the mass of the disk and the distance between the two parallel axes over there, that is the CD and AB over here. That distance between the two parallel axes, that mr square been added over there with the moment of inertia. Just you got it for the what about one of its diameter. So you added this mr square by 4 with the mr square, that will give you the value 5 by 4 mr square. Okay, that the moment of inertia. When suppose you consider the position, the tangent, that means the question is likely to be asked to determine the moment of inertia of a circular disc of radius r of mass m, and at a position say tangent to the disc, but that tangent in its own plane. Okay, not perpendicular, should be in its own plane. That's a very important criteria. So then you can apply the theorem of parallel axis or principle of parallel axis to determine the resultant moment of inertia. Similarly, can we do for a special case again tangent, but that tangent will be drawn perpendicular to its plane. So when you are drawing this tangent, I mean to say parallel to the axis through the center of the disk and perpendicular to its plane, then the distance between the two being will equal to the radius of the disk, and hence the principle of parallel axis says that, okay, that value, I mean to say what the value you are adding over there, the moment of inertia you need to consider that you have already determined for the perpendicular. I mean to say you have a disk and the axis is passing about its center in that is perpendicular. So but the tangent you are drawn, it's a perpendicular, so it is a parallel to which quantity? That